What if the stillness echoing around Chase Center right now isn't just off-season quiet, but the calm before a seismic shift that could rewrite the Warriors' narrative forever? Welcome back to Warriors News Fan Report, where raw truths collide with Splash-era passion. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so your heart never misses a beat. The Golden State Warriors front office, notoriously silent since the buzzer on last season, might be masking a calculated storm brewing beneath the radar, one that could finally address the roster gaps that have haunted their championship hopes. According to a revealing insider report from Brett Siegel, the Dubs are not just passively observing the free agency parade, they're actively maneuvering to bring in two key veterans whose names you've been hearing whispered with increasing urgency: Al Horford and De'Anthony Melton. Think about it. Golden State made the playoffs, clawed their way to the second round, only to fall to the Minnesota Timberwolves with Steph sidelined by injury for much of that series, a glaring spotlight on their vulnerabilities. The absence of Curry's unstoppable shot and playmaking left a void in offensive creativity, and the front court's deficiency at center, an Achilles heel, became painfully obvious. The Warriors have long lacked a legit interior anchor who can defend with authority and space the floor accurately on offense, and that's where Horford's savvy comes in. At 39, many pegged him for retirement, but league insiders at Summer League whispered that he's gearing up for his 19th NBA campaign, and the Warriors are the front-runners to sign the seasoned five-time All-Star. This isn't just an add-on. It's a strategic pivot by Golden State's brain trust, a masterstroke intended to infuse the lineup with veteran savvy, floor spacing, and defensive grit-all attributes Horford embodies. His ability to shoot, pass, and dribble would check every box from Warriors scout Jim Dunleavy's wish list for a front-court star who combines experience and versatility, a rare commodity in today's league. Meanwhile, Melton's potential signing carries its own dramatic weight. Though linked to the Lakers early in free agency, many league insiders who anticipated Melton's destination saw Los Angeles as his inevitable landing spot given their urgent need for a versatile perimeter defender who can also drain threes. But the tides might be shifting. Last season, Melton's brief 6-game stint with Golden State showcased his efficient shooting and tenacious on-ball defense, elements the Warriors desperately need if they hope to bolster their weak spots without splashing the cash on blockbuster stars. His signing would be a subtle, yet crafty, piece in the puzzle that could smooth the Warriors' offensive flow when Steph is out, giving them more than just shots from deep but valuable defense on the perimeter. So here's the rub. These potential signings aren't headline-grabbing moves like the Jimmy Butler trade from last season that jolted the franchise out of early-season doldrums. Instead, these are borderline margin additions that, together, might just unlock a new tier of competitiveness for a team still chasing that championship ceiling. Imagine Horford's veteran presence steadying the paint alongside Draymond Green's relentless defense, while Melton's hustle chips away at opposing shooters, alleviating pressure off Klay Thompson and giving young guns like Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody room to flourish. Could this understated duo be the twin engines that ignite the Warriors' quest for another title, perhaps even eclipsing the electrifying but volatile KD era? Or is this cautious approach a sign of front office hesitation, signaling a roster not yet ready to leap back to the summit? The mixture of cautious optimism and unanswered questions hangs heavily in the air as the Warriors map out their offseason, silently strategizing behind the scenes even as the world watches the free agency frenzy unfold. And here's what's wild: this kind of measured, under-the-radar maneuvering might just be what separates pretenders from legacy crafters. Let's be honest, we've tried the blockbuster route. We've seen super teams rise and fall under the weight of egos and media pressure. But this feels like a return to the original alchemy that made the Warriors magical, a blend of IQ, cohesion, and purpose. Horford isn't just a veteran big. He's a culture setter, a player whose presence sharpens younger minds. commands respect in silence, and becomes a tactical Swiss Army knife for Steve Kerr to wield against more athletic but less disciplined teams. Imagine the subtle backdoor passes, the seamless pick and pops, the way he can anchor a second unit, or even close out games when the moment demands poise. And then there's Melton, the kind of two-way player who doesn't make headlines until he's the reason your opponent's star goes cold in the fourth. What if this is Kerr's answer to the lack of bench punch, the missing link that glues together second units that often lift adrift without Steph or Draymond directing traffic? It's easy to overlook a guy like Melton if you're just reading stat sheets, but Warriors fans know it's not about stats. It's about moments. And Melton's got the grit to make moments matter. But let's not sugarcoat it. These signings come with risk. Horford's mileage is undeniable. At 39, every hard fall, every back-to-back, every playoff series will raise eyebrows and tempers alike. Can his body hold up through an 82-game season plus a postseason run? And Melton? Consistency has been his challenge. One night he's locking up elite guards and dropping efficient buckets. The next he's a ghost. Can the Warrior system so dependent on chemistry and rhythm help him find that elusive balance? And then there's the locker room dynamic. Bringing in Horford means recalibrating the team's leadership flow. Will Draymond embrace him as an equal or view him as competition for emotional control of the squad? Can Curry find fresh synergy with these new parts? Or does the clock on his prime tick louder with every adjustment? These aren't just roster questions, they're existential ones. The Warriors aren't just trying to win a title. They're trying to prove the dynasty isn't done. They're trying to show the world that the soul of the Splash Brothers still burns with championship heat, even if the league has shifted around them. And that's why these signings matter so much. Because they symbolize something bigger than X's and O's. They're declarations. They're swings at the narrative that says Golden State's best days are behind them. They're the defiant breath before the next war begins. So let the media keep sleeping. Let other fan bases mock. Let analysts write us off as washed. Because if this works, if Horford stays healthy, if Melton locks in, if Steph stays upright and Klay finds rhythm, if Moody and Kuminga rise, if Kerr adapts, then this isn't just a rebound. It's a rebirth. And it won't come with fireworks or parades in July. It'll come with sweat, with sacrifice, with games won in the trenches of January and the crucible of April. So drop your hottest takes in the comments. I want to know, are these the smartest, under-the-radar moves we've made since Iggy in 2013, or a sign we're clinging to something that's already slipped away? Either way, buckle up. Because one thing's for sure, when the storm breaks over Chase Center, we'll find out who's still standing. And I, for one, will be right here, drenched in blue and gold, ready to ride it out. Let's go, Dub Nation. If you just sat through that insider reveal and felt your nerves snap like a high-tension wire, I want to hear it right now. Unload your soul in the comments, because this Warriors off-season feels like a turning point the way a lightning strike cracks a dark sky. And we've built our whole fandom on moments like this, moments that decide whether we're watching the dying embers of a dynasty or the first sparks of a rebirth. Let's not sugarcoat it. Golden State sitting quietly in this free agency maelstrom, methodically circling two veterans who aren't exactly marquee names, Horford and Melton, might feel like a neither here nor there move to some. But to those who've tracked every drip of Steve Kerr's chess game and Bob Myers' delicate pacing, it might be the clearest signal yet that the old blueprint get shooters, spread the floor, play defense with heart is being tweaked, not trashed. But here's where the real pulse pounds and the story thickens. Does adding Horford, with his ancient wisdom and ice-cold veteran poise, really plug the gaping holes the Wolves and injuries exposed? Or is this just a bandage on a hemorrhaging roster? At 39, Al isn't the young, explosive five that can dominate the rim anymore. He's a cerebral steadying force, a floor general in a game that's been speeding beyond his generation. That could either be exactly the antiseptic to calm Draymond's fiery chaos, and anchor the paint next to Kevin Looney's rugged grit. Or it could signify the front office settling for the familiar rather than chasing game-changing dice rolls. Meanwhile, De'Anthony Melton's potential return feels like the Dubs doubling down on hustle and heart, a gritty, combative defender and streaky shooter who flashed tenacity in his brief stint with us last season. A player who can chase down every loose ball like his life depends on it. But again, can Melton step up to be more than just a role player desperately plugging holes in the backcourt? This isn't just about contracts, about what the locker room chemistry will feel like the moment the season's pressure builds. And legends like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green demand not just high-level play, but the kind of relentless synergy that made us champions. Steph's legacy is dangling at a crossroads. The greatest shooter of all time came back from injury after injury. But if this core can't reload properly around him, and the new kids Kuminga and Moody can't break through the ceilings built of playoff heartbreak and lingering what-ifs, then what's left? We've watched Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Luka Doncic rise while our young Dubs still look raw, biting at the edges of greatness, but not quite swallowing it whole. The coaching staff under Kerr faces perhaps their most delicate challenge, yet balancing respect for their irreplaceable hallmarks with the messy reality that the NBA machine keeps evolving. And veterans like Horford might be the bridge to slow down, rather than the fuel to a new gear-up. There's tension in the training rooms, too. Draymond's magnetism fuels this team's soul, but at times his intensity fractures the harmony, and his relationship with some rising stars has shown cracks. Will Horford's sage presence heal or highlight those cracks? Melton's youth and fire could either electrify or exacerbate those locker room dynamics. The clock is ticking louder than ever for this group, and the pressure is a tsunami pushing on all fronts, from fans screaming for a title to the aching weight of history that follows Curry's every breakout or slump. Remember the 5 straight Finals Kevin Durant circus, the unstoppable splash of 2015 to 2019, then the injuries and paradoxical reinvention of a team clinging to identity while the league's changing around them. What if the Horford-Melton blueprint is the precise, quiet recalibration needed for the Dubs to re-enter the title conversation without the glitz, but with surgical precision? Or what if it's a sign the front office and coaching staff are hedging? In place, too cautious to make the leaps required in a league where stars rise and fall with brutal speed. The offseason whispers hint at something bigger. A metagame outpacing even the fastest Curry dribble front office power plays. Subtle shifts in trade chip valuations, and perhaps a hidden contingency plan lurking behind the scenes. Something nobody's whispering, because the stakes are too damn high. Maybe this is the calm before a storm we can't yet see a blockbuster trade that obliterates the expectations we're setting now. Or perhaps it's an unanswered prayer for stability, a defensive posture that says we ride with what we trust while betting on luck and small ball magic. But here's the raw truth. The next season won't wait for consensus or fan comfort. It will demand everything: the shot making, the defense, the grit, the unyielding belief that what made us champions can rise again. I'm not here to give false hope or push blind faith. I'm here because I've stood in the cheap seats when Steph drained impossible threes, when Draymond bullied the paint, when a young Curry took blows and still stood undefeated in heart. As someone who bled blue and gold through every heartbreaking parade, I can feel it in my bones, something's shifting beneath the surface. Whether it's the spark or the fracture, this offseason's undercurrents will define the final chapters of a dynasty or the prologue of a new era. Right now, the front office silence may be golden, or it could be the sound of time running out. So I'm throwing this open to the real Dub Nation forged in Bay Fog and championship parades. Drop your hottest, rawest take below, no filter, no fear. Who steps up when the lights burn hottest? What's the secret sauce the Dubs need to leap from contenders to champions once again? Is Horford the steady hand or a wistful nod to a bygone era? Can Melton's hustle ignite the spark that sends the youngins soaring? Or is this just another Pat's job? I'm here, heart wide open, waiting to argue, agree, and dive deep with every word you throw in. This isn't just a report, it's a rally cry. And Dub Nation is the only tribe that keeps this flame alive. Now, let's hear it.